Okay, are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? We live? Looks like we might be live. We are live. We are recording live from Altamont. Yeah, Altamont. Where do I get Altamont from? Arlington, Vermont. I'm Mr. Katie. I am. These are hobbies that make me happy. Now, hopefully, the weather outside's a little on the windy side. So hopefully that will not, cause problems with the internet. But, when trees are swishing back and forth like this, it is a little bit of a challenge. Ooh, did not realize this. Oh, never mind. Just have to realize that I thought something was wrong, and then I just have to realize that no, it is correct. But tonight I could sort of technically, stay up late tonight because work has got over the mandatory overtime. Is now voluntary overtime, which for this month. Last week since I wasn't told about this until later on that. Oh, excuse me. I decided to turn around and just keep on going to work and go from there. And but got to get my car fixed. The fan is not working in the car, so I only got heat above 45 miles per hour, which is annoying. Right now the weather don't really need the heat, but eventually it's going to get hot enough to need the air conditioner. But that's the things behind the scenes, I guess, that's happening. In front of the scenes, we will switch cameras to the live camera. And tonight we are going to turn around and stain stuff tonight. So it's going to get a little messy. But that is okay. If anyone is following on the build along, they're actually starting construction. But I didn't. I just didn't. I wasn't quite fully in the mood to get that far ahead. But everything has been scored and appropriately scored. But I do have the different weathering mixes that I got from Hunter Line. Got blue gray, Thai brown, creosote black, driftwood. This is what I'm going to do for the ties, and for outside of the sheathing, basically, is barn red. So that's what my plan is right now. And looking at drawings, we have the siding, which are 1x12s, which are these. And then it looks like there is a spot where things are sort of sticking out, which are, from the looks of it, 6x6s. So my plan is to basically color the 6x6s and the 1x12s in red. Ties, I'm sort of gonna think about doing sort of like random colors. I think for the rest of it, For all the other ones, I'm probably going to lean towards driftwood. Blue gray is another possibility. It's a relatively new color that I've gotten hold of. But the important thing is, well, hello, Anthony. Thank you for coming. One of the important things is having disposable cups to put your weathering mixes in. Also makes it easier to not only to color stuff, but also with the ties turning around and actually randomizing the different colors. So let's see. 14. Now some of these larger ones, let's see, top cord 6x10. It's 3x10. 6. 18x4. Okay, the 18x4 are the stringers, which are on the bottom here. So since they're not going to be well seen, I think I might do them in the driftwood because it's a lighter color. Eight by 8. Also, if I remember correctly, that's some of the end shims. The 8x8 or the 8x8. These are the end shims are 8x8. Cords are 8x12. Six. 8x12. We'll also make the 8x12s driftwood. And 6x. There's 6x. So the driftwood. This is random. 8x8 is random. 5/6. Yeah, it's one of those things that right now is just figuring out what color to go where. All right, Raptor is 3x10. That's on the roof, which probably will not be. It's going to be under everything. So, guess we can turn around and use blue gray for that. 1x6. 1x6. 6. Bill materials. Those are cross braces and which are these. All right. Take those, the cords. And right. What do you think about how the building is made? They actually have the build materials and different sizes, so you can do a quick reference of what different sizes are which. Oh, nail strapping. Okay. The nail strapping is this along here, which have to be cooked, but we'll keep the three's all on its own spot. All right. So let's get staining. Now they do recommend having gloves on, but I'm going to look dangerously. And we will freeze the blue-gray. One of the important details is to have sort of a throwaway brush. Of course, didn't have to use. Now, you probably use a smaller brush, but I can get a smaller brush in reach. This is what the blue-gray looks like. Just a little bit. And sort of like just with before with the scoring of wood, it's also a good idea to do the same thing of stain everything and then put it back into the tube that it came out of. Now the importance with the scoring is that if you stain the basswood without putting the grooves in them, it winds up being a very uniform color. And that's sort of not what you're, when you're looking to make it look like wood and have grain. That's probably not the way to go. Fortunately, with this camera angle, you're probably not going to be seeing too much. But basically, all I'm doing is just adding stain. So that's not extremely exciting. Probably if I had a stronger microphone, you could probably hear everything scrape, which I guess is a calming thing from my understanding. It's sort of like an alphabet soup that goes with alphabetical words that go with it, sort of go along with what it is, which I don't know what it is off the top of my head. But I guess there's actual YouTube channels that are put onto the sounds of that are supposed to be soothing. Now it's one of those things of using gloves, you don't get your hands stained and all that. But I personally don't care if my hands get stained. It's skin can turn around and stain easy, but then again, eventually, just like hair, eventually the stain goes away. Stain is not under my skin, so it's not like a tattoo. It's down a bit. Sure that stain is on both sides. Yeah, that's a picture of what, well, a variation of what it could look like when it's done. Well, it's a little over-weathered in my opinion with the missing boards and stuff like that. So I'm gonna make mine a little bit more taken care of. When it comes to weathering, one thing I've noticed that there's a lot of guys that turn around and just take something and they make it look like it has been used in 50 years, abandoned or overworked. I mean, that's their style, but there are things that, in my opinion, go a little overkill, where if that's all what it is, it winds up. I mean, there is prototypes where you got a building that's run down, but the building right next to it could be brand new. But usually everything winds up being so weathered that they're trying to give everything character, but the thing is, if everything has the same character, you wind up losing the character. I mean, it winds up being no longer individual buildings, it winds up being more of a lot of the same thing. It's almost like, I want to say either like a row of brownstones or the famous painted ladies of San Francisco. They all wind up looking the same, and there's no individuality. So it's one of those things of, instead of making all covered bridges like they're falling apart, I'm going to make mine that it's properly maintained. And it's a good thing that I actually live nearby 3 covered bridges that are actually pretty well maintained. One, I believe, has had the wood decking and all that replaced with steel, so the building portion is sort of frivolous. But at least it still has its character. I think it's the Chisaville Bridge, I think it's called. Now that I'm taking these out, you have to realize that I might have not thought this through, because 3x10s are sorting. But this is, since these are out of alcohol and not water based, you can definitely smell the alcohol that's in it, which I believe is isopropyl. But sure, I don't think they have the ingredients on it. So it's using a well ventilated area. Oh, here it is. It actually says 70% isopropyl alcohol, and leather dye. So those are the ingredients. Go make your own. Just kidding. I would have to say the hunters don't actually have all the ingredients for the specific ingredients. Yes, it's 70% isopropyl alcohol, which explains the smell. At the same time, doesn't really, it's one of those things of trying to think, like tea. It's like, yes, it has tea leaves and water, but usually doesn't say exactly how much tea or how many, how much tea is infused, how long it's brewed, what temperature it is brewed. So it winds up being, there's a little bit of a secret to it that is not delved into. Sort of a trade secret. Now, I have heard that someone has duplicated some of the stuff from Hunterline. Don't know who they are because they don't really mention, they don't mention the people that did stuff. Which I mean is, it's like it is sort of disheartening that put a lot of time and effort and stuff, and someone just goes, "Oh, I'll just copy it." Or I've heard some other horror stories when it comes to manufacturers and dealers. Sometimes they play nicely, and there's other people that do not play nicely at all. Now, one of the interesting things is that when these get cut to size, and you'll wind up with the ends uncolored, but we'll turn around and just take a small paintbrush and reconstitute the color that is on there. Now, one thing I'm not doing, and even the hunters suggest this, so I'm not the roof shakes. I'm not going to turn around and pre-tint them, mainly because I guess it winds up being better after the model is put together, whereas everything else, especially since trying to get stain on the inside is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Basically, that's why they suggest that you turn around and go that specific direction. Trying to get that blue. Yeah, the blue-gray. I'm going to get as much out of this. Because just happened to realize I should have done that first. But oh well. We'll give it slightly variation on stuff. But as you can see, most of the dye is pretty much dry at this point. So it does not, it dries really quickly. This one we might have to put more because we have 4 boards. B2, we can add more stuff in there. That doesn't like staying on, I guess, or not cap the seal on the inside. All right, now on to the 1x12s. Well, hello again, short line. Thank you for coming back. And as you can probably tell that right now I am staining. The hunters did suggest that not only to score like we did last week, the scoring was to basically help with the stain. Because I guess with basswood, when you're staining basswood and you don't score it, it comes out very uniform. But if you score all the different lines in the wood, what happens is that the different areas wind up picking up different amount of stain. Like the upper surfaces do not have that much stain on them. However, in the grooves, you wind up getting a lot of stain, and that sort of seems like a pretty much like a grain that you would have with natural wood. So this is going to have a little bit of blue gray in it. That is fine. See, this is definitely a red. Well, hello, DES Productions. And how are you? Yeah, I've come to not trust the thing where it says how many people are watching, because there's times that it shows, oh, only one person watching, but yet the chat's going. It's like, wait, that's not right. So I'm using the how many people are watching as a guessometer. So I'm surprised that it would be a guessometer, because, well, it's digital, but I guess that's the way it goes. Now that we got that side sufficiently stained, flip this over. Now I'm assuming my hands are gonna, by the end of this whole entire thing, my hands are gonna be stained all multiple of colors. But it's one of those things that's on the skin, not under the skin, so it won't be like a tattoo. But as I mentioned earlier, the hunters on New Tracks Modeling, they are actually assembling stuff, because basically I'm doing the quote homework now, because it was supposed to be doing the scoring that I did last week and staining, but I only got the scoring done. So now I'm doing staining. And they also said earlier, I'm also planning on having it look a little bit nicer than the suggestion of having it a little bit run down. It seems that from what I've seen, anytime somebody models a covered bridge, is well, we have to make it like sway back and all that fun stuff. It's like, yeah, why not make a uh, covered bridge that's actually properly maintained? Not necessarily brand new. Of course, that would also be an interesting variation. Hello, Randall. Thank you for coming in. Some of these are actually sticking together. These really thin ones, since they have a lot of surface, they are sticking to each other. Of course, they're also very, very flat. But these are 1x12s, which are going to be on the outside. That's why I went with the Hunter Line Barn Red mix. Because, well, it's going to stand out against all the green. Dry. Now these might be dry by now. And they feel dry. And that's one of the advantage of the Hunter Line mix mixes is that they do dry relatively quickly. But as the warning says, use in a well ventilated area. Dry. The extra 4 scale inches makes it so that it's not as dry. They are damp, so I'm going to put them away. They don't get mixed in with the colors. If I can get it open. Come on. There. Yeah, I get 2 out of the hole. Oh yeah, right. And that's the thing is with live, it's like all the small little mistakes can there's the rest. And also helpful hint is to make sure that the label, which is inside, is readable. Basically put everything behind the non-reading side. Okay, that's the 1x12s. We're also doing the 6x6s in red. So well, I know Anthony usually does not do scratch building, which this is I want to say almost one step from. I mean, you're basically you got a box full of sticks, and there you go. But you do have instructions on how to do things, uh, which I think are pretty decent instructions. I mean, I've seen a lot worse. Then again, I've also seen a lot better ones. And there was actually one place where I wound up making not necessarily instructional manuals. There were more there were more of procedural manuals. And thing is, my sister is the English major. I was more in technology, but apparently I hang out with my sister's friends that use a lot of English properly. So apparently my writing is be better off because of that. I know somebody trying to read their Facebook messages was hard because they were doing the shorthand version of sort of like gaming spelling. And there's times I actually had to turn around and actually say what it was and all that in order to understand it. Oh, okay. I forgot about that part, Anthony. Ooh, NSF 25th anniversary. ES 44 ACs. Now I'm honestly I'm not up on my modern locomotives, but is that a electric one? For some reason, I'm thinking of a General Electric, basically a box with pantographs on it. But then again, I could be completely wrong. But that's for some reason that's what I'm thinking of. I honestly don't know if Burlington Northern was Burlington Northern electrified. I know there was one out west that was, and I remember them having like what they called the Big Joes. But I'm not sure which railroad that was. Oh, wait a second, Milwaukee Road. I'm not sure if the Burlington Northern wound up absorbing the Milwaukee Road or not. I think I got absorbed by someone, but I do not know which that someone was. Seemed to have dried quicker because I think I had them spread out better. I was at this one shop, and they had a thing that said, free stuff. And I sort of poke my eye in there. It's like, yeah, there's nothing that was really interesting, but I did find a clock. It had a sort of mystical front plate and all that. I turned around and they just took that out and just left the regular stuff in there, and now I got a clock to keep track of time, because the clock on the computer at this distance, I'm almost a good closest monitor I want to say is a good 6 feet away, and when the letters are only about that small, that's not gonna work. Oh, neat. Back in 2021. Back at a time that it was very hard to, have public celebrations. Yeah, if I think, let's see. WebTech is former General Electric, and I think Caterpillar's former EMD. I knew about EMD being bought out by Caterpillar, but I did not know that General Electric was also bought out. Okay, those are all nice and red. These are all nice and blue. Now, bring out the brush. As much as possible. Now, bring the colors over there, currently used. Bring this back over here. Now we're going to go with blue-gray. No, wait a blue-gray was that. These were driftwood. Now my thoughts on using driftwood for the color is that the parts of the bridge not painted. All right. So are they still using the Erie, Pennsylvania plant, or is WebTech? I can see tech, I can see a W and an A, but I can't quite see. I can't see if it's a B or a D. Now, is WebTech former Westinghouse? Or am I getting that completely wrong? Now, since most of these I'm staying now are sort of kind of hidden, don't really mind if they have a red tinge to them. One thing I probably should have, thought what order operations of color. Driftwood is is the lightest color I have. And from what I understand, usually you're supposed to go from light to dark. So probably should have done the driftwood first, then the blue gray, and then the barn red, and then do the individual setups for the randomized colors separately. All right, so they have not moved. All right, so they have not moved. I believe Caterpillar, when they took over, they moved everything to Canada. Of course, as I said, my knowledge of modern equipment is not as up to date as the really old stuff.